Hello, my name is Leopoldo Armesto, and in this video I will introduce you the instructions that we use in Facilino for USB serial communication. So let me just first start with the outline of the presentation. I will just briefly describe the material we use and the work instructions, and then we will go or explain you several exercises. Particularly, we will start with the typical Hello World exercise, serial loopback, how to parse integer and decimal numbers, and how to plot signals. So in this presentation we are going to use the Wemos D1R32 board together with the Arduino multisensor shield. This is the standard board we use in most of our presentations regarding with the electronics. So these are the work instructions. We have in the communication category, we have several subcategories, and we have one which is the USB communication, serial communication, and within this subcategory we have these instructions, some of these instructions. The first one, it will give us if the serial is, will indicate if there's data available on the serial buffer. The second one, we have a way to print text and numbers, so we can print all these numbers and send it back to our computer and display this data on the console. We can also have the possibility to plot graphs, so just simply we need to use this serial plot data, and we also have the possibility to read whatever the user inputs as an integer or as a decimal number or a float, or also as a string, just as text. Additionally, we will use these instructions just simply for the exercises we will see. So let's start by the hello world. Well, in this case we have the setup loop instruction, and in this exercise we just simply print the hello world text on the console at startup. So that's why we put this instruction on the setup section, and we have just simply, we're using a text instruction, and we just type hello world, and this will print this line. Then here in this example we have a serial loopback. Here, this example, the purpose is to print whatever we type on the console will be printed back and returned to our computer. So whatever text string we receive, we print it back to the computer. So here what we're using is whenever we have data available in the serial buffer, then we read it and we print it back with a serial print line. Then here what we have is an example of how to parse a number. So whenever we type on the console a text, this is a bunch of numbers that has to be interpreted or parsed. Okay, so if we type numbers that, let's say 45, then this number could be interpreted as a text or as a number itself. So if it's interpreted as a number, then we can do numeric operations or math operations on it. For instance, in this example, whenever we type a number, we can add up one unit and then print it back on the console. In this example, what we're doing is, instead of just printing a number, we're printing a decimal number, so it has the dot separation. And here particularly what we're doing is we are reading this text as a number, and then we negate the value and we print it back. Okay, so this is an example of how to read a decimal or float number. And finally here, what we're seeing is we're reading the value from the potentiometer, which is the analog input 0, and this value it's it's sent back to the PC, and it's using the serial plot data instruction, which with the corresponding utility in Facilino we will see as it's plotting the variables on the potentiometer that we are modifying. Okay, so in this presentation I have introduced you the USB serial communications with Facilino. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you on my next video.